Hey, what is going on, y'all? In today's video, we're gonna be installing these aftermarket Raptor 6-inch running boards for this 2024 Chevy Silverado. And what I'm doing is I'm gonna replace this chrome and black with straight black. That's what's in the box right here. Let's go ahead and get into the install. Let's go. This is gonna be the 4 with the OEM. As you can see, the chrome on chrome, I'm just not a big fan of. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with the unboxing. This is gonna be a multiple day thing, so you're gonna see me in different shirts. But I wanna unbox it today. One, to clear some space in my garage, because this has been here since February. And then two, just for me to put my eyes on it for the very first time in person. These have been in the box since February, taking up space in my garage, like I said, and I wanna unbox these with you guys so you can see what I'm looking at and what I purchased. So go ahead and get those tossed off to the side. These running boards are said to withstand 400 pounds, which I'm good with as an individual. And then obviously, you know, you want to be careful having multiple people step on them at the same time. But they're warranted for 3 years on the finish, which is kind of cool. And they were fairly affordable as well. Definitely cheaper than stock replacements in black. So that's why I went ahead and went with these from realtruck.com. So this is fairly lightweight. I've never replaced running boards before, so I don't know for sure what they should weigh, but this is fairly lightweight and it looks really nice. Looks really nice. Should look really good on the truck once I get them installed. So this is the left-hand side, the driver's side. And what I'll do is I'll take and sit this on the passenger side, see if I can get an indication of kind of how this is gonna look before I actually go through and do the install. What I saw online is the install should take about 45 minutes. What I would guess is it would take me a little bit longer since I'm filming it, but that's okay. All worth it to show you guys what it is I'm putting on the truck and what you can look forward to with this removal and install of the boards. So that's what it looks like fresh out of the package. I'll get you a close-up for some B-roll. I think that's gonna look really nice once they're on, to get rid of some of that chrome and take away a little bit of the look there. I'm not a big chrome guy, so as you can see with my Harley Davidson, I'm not a big chrome guy by any means. And so then we come to the additional parts. There's some covers that I didn't purchase. I'm gonna take this one off to see if I actually need them or not, or see if I can use the stock ones right here. But there's the brackets that you have to buy separately from the boards, and it tells you right here on the packaging itself. So these are the brackets. Right here. And they mount differently than the stock boards as well. And then you also get the hardware as well. But these mount differently than the stock boards because the bolts are actually on the running board itself for the Raptors, and on the OEM, they're actually mounted on the boards themselves. And you'll see that when I take it off. I'll show you the difference just to show you what you're gonna be dealing with. I hadn't planned on installing the boards today, but I'm getting the itch real bad to do it, but I'm gonna hold off to make sure I take my time and do it right. But I'm gonna get some before and after footage to kind of compare and show you the difference and see what you think. And we'll see that at the end. So I'll be back with you here in a couple days. As I mentioned in my initial unboxing, I was unsure if I was gonna get the covers or not for the brackets to go on the running boards. I put on the driver's side running board, and I'll show it to you here in some B-roll. And I did not like the look of the bracket just hanging there. I'm not worried about it structurally in terms of supporting weight. I'm worried about the way it looks. So I went ahead and purchased the brackets from realtruck.com. I purchased them last Sunday, and I want to say they got here on Tuesday or Wednesday. But these are the instructions that tell you how to install them. Hopefully I don't have to do any trimming or anything. We'll see. No big deal if I do. But these are the covers to make it look a little bit more substantial in terms of the actual assembly itself. Because the OEM looks really substantial. I'll pull up one of the OEMs. I'll put some B-roll of the OEMs up here so that way you can see it. But you can see these are the pieces that are the cover. And that way you get that nice clean look. And they weren't very expensive. I want to say they were $30. I don't remember exactly how much they were. You can see that the aftermarket bracket is built in a similar way. It just doesn't come with the plastic cover on there. So there's really no difference, no huge substantial difference. But we'll go ahead and get this installed. Pretty this truck up. So we're going to go ahead and get started on the removal of the OEM running board and the installation of the aftermarket Raptor running board. I already did the driver's side, so I already know what I need to do, and it should go a lot quicker. But I wanted to do that to make sure I gave a nice quality video for you guys. And I'll talk about some of the things that I talked about in the opening as well. Let's get into it. So the tools that you're going to need for this job, and I say need, are going to be a 10mm socket, a 13mm socket, a torque wrench because they give you torque specs for the bolts themselves. I also am using my M12 Milwaukee Ratchet to make things a little bit quicker, a little less manual for myself. So if you have one of these, by all means, go for it. This project definitely tolerates that. So now that we got the tools all squared away, there might be some onesie twosies here, but now that we got all the tools squared away, we're going to go ahead and jump into the removal and installation. Part of what I was talking about during the unboxing is talking about how the hardware is installed on the OEM running board and then how the hardware is installed on the aftermarket running board. And so what I wanted to clarify, what I said was, for the OEM running board, the bolts go through this bracket and into the running board. For the aftermarket running boards, and I'll put some B-roll up here, for the aftermarket running board, the hardware actually goes through. It's a T-bolt and a track, and it actually goes through and it makes it to where it's adjustable for different models of vehicles and so on and so forth. So just a subtle difference. It is a little bit of a pain in the butt when the running board, the OEM running board is down, the bolts are hanging down, and then the hardware, I have to put it up onto the bolts. So it's a washer, a lock washer, and then a nut. And so it's a little tricky, but it's nothing, earth shattering or anything like that. But like I said, we'll go ahead and get into the install. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started on removing this hardware. These are the 10mm bolts, like I said. I need to throw on my safety glasses. There's stuff flying all over the place. I'll be right back. Fine. So I'm going to take all the bolts to the running boards off first, and then the bracket bolts. Now I'll come back and get the brackets off. And if I remember correctly, I need a longer 3/8 extension for that. Still the 10mm bolts though. Keep all this hardware so I can resell the brackets or the running boards. Go ahead and break the torque. Run it on out. And last time I did all the underneath ones first because it requires the extension. And then I'll go back to the top bolts because that doesn't require the extension. This is what it looks like without the running boards. Just looks naked. I can't run with that. Not that it's a bad look, but it just looks naked. So we'll go ahead and get these aftermarkets on and we'll see what it looks like. So I just double checked the instructions, and the torque range is from 15 to 20 foot-pounds. So definitely want to make sure you get that right so you don't over torque any of the bolts or anything and you end up with something like this. I'm not 100% sure what happened, but I'm gonna check and see what the hardware specs are and order me some extras just in case. But we'll go ahead and get all this cleaned up and get going into the installation of the aftermarket. I'm going to And so before I put on this board, I have to install 2 more of the T-track brackets. T-track bolts. And they'll just slide right in the slots, which I found out the hard way the first time I did this. But you live and you learn, right? Slide in just like that. All right, got the rest of the hardware here. Go ahead and install the brackets. We're on our way. So now I've got the aftermarket brackets and covers. We'll go ahead and get those installed and get you turned around here. All right, so we got a 13mm socket and our hardware. So our lock washer and our flat washer right there. We'll go ahead and put the brackets on, and I'll go in reverse order. Just go ahead and get the top bolt in and started. And then what they warn you about is don't tighten, and this makes sense anytime you're working with a bunch of bolts to align stuff. Don't tighten the bolts down until you actually get the running boards in place and aligned, and then you can tighten them down. And that'll just make sure you have adjustability as you're going through the installation process. And you got to make sure you put these on in the right orientation. And also what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be tightening the bottom bolt first because the adjustability is up and down. I'm going to tighten and torque the bottom bolt first and then tighten the top bolt up here. So that way you make sure you have the full adjustability and everything is seated up against the frame for that support that you're going to need when people are stepping on and off of the running board. The good thing is the Milwaukee Ratchet gets me close to torque spec without going over. So just a few turns, manual turns, it's a real time saver. So before I put the running board on itself, I'm going to go ahead and put these covers on, these bracket covers. You can see how much of a difference that makes on my visual aspect. It's a lot nicer. Just slides right on there like that. The tricky part is once you put the running board on and you have both of these on here, is aligning the holes. That's the tricky part, but that's not rocket science either necessarily. But I'm just gonna go ahead and preset these, and then I will take and put the running board on itself, line up the hardware, and we'll be on our way. Go ahead and grab the running board. And as you can see, these bolts slide around, so it does make it a little bit of a challenge in terms of putting it on the truck itself. And like these have tipped over, whereas these ones have not done that. I'm not 100% sure why these are doing this and the other ones aren't, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and get these somewhat aligned and then turn the running board over on top of the brackets and the covers and stuff like that. So the front end, try to be gentle on the ground here. Grab me a scribe. Little tools of the trade, grab me a scribe. There we go. I'll keep the scribe handy. I could have used it the last time I did this. So, like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and position the bolts. Close to the brackets. Yeah, it's a different, the T-bolt and the tracks already are a square, whereas the ones you put in after the fact are just that, a T-bolt, so you can take and install it. I'm gonna ask them for the square T-bolts, not these, but the square T-bolts that hold better, because all you gotta do is take the screws off of the end and put them on there. I don't care for this because it comes in and out, and actually this is one of the ones that I broke. So that tells me it's kind of a inferior material. But anyhow, go ahead and get this flipped up on here. I've got them about as close as I can get them. And what I'll do is, and there's that gravity playing with me clunking. There we go. What I'll do is I'll get the first bolts aligned, and then I'll take and put the nuts and washers on there, and that'll hold it in place so it doesn't get all over the place. So like I said, the gravity challenge will commence with messing with these bolts, but between my scribe and my hands, I'll get it. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna ask them for the square bolt, the square track bolt, not the T-bolt. And I'm gonna replace the ones on the other side that I already put on too. That's crap, I don't like it. Other than that, I don't have a lot of complaints, if I'm being honest, but I just don't care for the different hardware. Yeah, this definitely, that's frustrating. This right here is the T-bolt part that I'm talking about. Try to get it to focus on that. This is the T-bolt that I'm talking about. The bolts that are actually installed on the track that are, I would say, in there for typical installations, they're squared and they're not T'd like this. This T, see if I can get it to focus on it. That T is what's causing all the problems. All right, got it all torqued up. We'll get the final look here. So as I said when swapping these out, I think this is a nice clean look. I'm not a big chrome fan, especially stepping on chrome. And honestly, I think it kind of blends in, the running boards do. They're kind of subdued versus standing out like they do with the chrome OEM boards. I really like these boards. They're a lot cheaper than OEM. The OEM black ones, they're a lot cheaper. I think like $300 cheaper. And I think they do the same job and they look great. And part of the reason why I chose these was because they match the rear bumper somewhat. Hopefully you can see that. See that design, that ridge in the rear bumper? I think that looks really good. Never mind the truck being dirty. So I want to thank y'all for watching this video. If you have any questions about the install, I'm going to link to the product in the description. If you have any questions about the install, comments, concerns, or tips for me, by all means share. I want to thank you for watching this video. I want to remind you to always ride as if your life depends on it. Peace.